This is Tessa Keogh. Welcome back to our Legacy Virtual Users Group. Every day is Tuesday's Tip Day, all to celebrate Family History Month. Today, after a very brief but sunny hiatus, we're back at it with the letter N, and that brings up Nag Screens. Seriously, if you look in the Legacy Help System under N, up pops Nag Screens. You know what I'm talking about. Those little reminders. If you do that, Tessa, this will happen. Those pop-up second guessers. Are you sure about that, Tessa? And questions that Legacy asks sometimes to make sure it understands what we have in mind. They are collectively referred to as nag screens. So, do you find them annoying or helpful? Did you know that you can customize your nag screens and choose what you want to be reminded about and when you want Legacy to mind its own business? But before we turn our attention to the actual nag screens, a little bit about the word nag, most often used as a verb. That's right, it's an action word, as in annoy or irritate, and of course it has a Scandinavian or Low German origin, to gnaw, irritate, or provoke. Bet you never thought nagging could be used for good. But if you've ever been saved by that reminder to back up your Legacy database before proceeding with a merge, you know that nagging can be a godsend. If we click on Help, which brings up the Legacy system, and enter the keyword nag, the topic of nag screens appears. And at section 12.5, Legacy tells us that there are a number of message boxes that can be turned off, so if you don't want to see them again, they won't be there. And they can also be turned back on if it's something you want to be reminded of, all with a check in the message box. It's about having options. But first, since nag has a Scandinavian origin, I thought I'd switch things up a bit and introduce you to the Swedish side of my family. And since it's all about making choices, or having options, you knew we were going to visit Customize Legacy under Options. Now, if you were paying attention, you noticed that the help system referred to section 12.5 for message boxes, and in Customize Legacy, we look for section 12, Other Settings, and then scroll through to find section 12.5, Message Boxes, and that works for all the Customize Legacy sections. Pretty sweet, huh? And as you can see, by GBL, any changes are global changes, meaning they affect your entire Legacy program, rather than FF changes that only affect that particular family file. Now, when we click on the optional reminder messages, we see three particular files. First up, prompts or reminders. We have 16 of these. Reminders and prompts like remind me to make a backup before I do file maintenance. Remind me to make a backup when exiting Legacy. Prompt for confirmation before clearing all tags. Prompt for confirmation before exiting Legacy. Second up, messages. We have a total of 13. Things like, let me know when the merge process is complete. Let me know that editing locations affects everyone who uses them. Let me know about potential problems with data in individual entries or edits. And third, we have questions, a total of 7. Questions like, are you sure you want to use auto merge? Do you want to use an auto source when importing? Did you want to use a 4-digit date there rather than the 2-digit date you typed? As you can see, Legacy has the reminder set to on, or Legacy intends to nag you for your own good, or at least until you're more comfortable with your choices, or you find the Customize Message Boxes section and turn some of them off. One of my favorites is the Alarm Center. Granted, it's not going to save my work or change the world, but I do set the alarm and add my own message to remind me to exit Legacy and go to bed. It's all going to keep. The Alarm Center is your clock in Legacy, and by right-clicking on it, it brings up the message box. So have a little fun. And this is what you see when you click on the red box to exit Legacy. It asks you, are you sure about that? You can choose to always show the message or remove it right from the message box. When you choose to do a bit of file maintenance, spring or fall cleaning, and at least twice a year, but more often if you're entering data on a regular basis, you'll receive a much needed nag reminding you that it's a good idea to make a backup copy before you proceed. Really, Legacy is just trying to help and make your life easier if anything goes a little wonky on you. If you edit a location in your master location list, Legacy will remind you that the edit will affect all records using that location, and it wants you to confirm that that's actually what you had in mind. If you answer yes, Legacy will make the change. If you answer no, Legacy leaves everything as it was. And if you answer help, Legacy will explain the effect of your choices to you. Again, you have the opportunity to choose your option regarding changes to locations right in the message box. Legacy also gives you choices in the search feature. Legacy wants to know, do you want to clear the list before the search? Basically, the glass is empty and Legacy's ready to fill it. Or, add the results of this search to the existing list. The glass has something in it, but Legacy will continue to pour. Or, only search the search list. Legacy will work with the contents in the glass and filter them for you. And these little reminders, or nags, are in several places in Customize. I'm going to highlight a few of them for you. Legacy starts out in Section 1, General Settings, with how do you want to open your Legacy program? You choose the view based on how you work. Which family file do you want to start with? And then, which family do you want to start with? I work in Family View, so that's my default. I open the last family file used, and I always display my preferred startup family, James Murphy and Ellen Kiley. What do you do? Which ribbon do you want to show, and do you want your ribbon minimized? Do you want tagging options enabled? Do you want to see pop-up tooltips and/or quick name lists? Do you want pop-up information boxes to come up automatically, only when you click on them, or never? At Section 3, Data Format, do you want to highlight living individuals? Do you want an indicator on the family view if excluded from potential problems? In Section 5, Dates, do you want Legacy to check all questionable dates or only unrecognized dates? In Section 7, Sources, do you want to use SourceWriter or Basic Source? Do you want to set certain defaults for your master source defaults? What do you want to include by default in source details, including the surety level? Do you want to be prompted for detail with the source clipboard? Do you want 1 or up to 5 sources on the source clipboard? In Section 8, View, do you want to show potential problem icons on the family and pedigree view? This is one to keep in mind if those red exclamation marks start to drive you crazy. But wait, that's not all. By clicking on the Reports toolbar or ribbon, selecting Other Reports, and then clicking on Potential Problems, and that's the 12th one down, and keep in mind that they're always in alphabetical order. You can always be nagged or prompted to check your Legacy family file for possible errors or problems. Let's take a quick look at that. The Potential Problems dialog box or screen has 5 tabs. First up is Records. You can give your report a title. Default is Potential Problems Report, but you could always get creative here. You can tell Legacy the records you want to search and specifically limit your search by tag number. Second, what parameters do you want to give Legacy for warnings? This includes a variety of warnings, and you choose the ages, since you're the best judge of what to use with your family members. Third, Legacy provides some items that could be problems. Do you have valid dates? Have you included a birth date that's after a death date, or a burial date before a death date? That could be a real problem. Fourth, Legacy assists here with all those little errors. A title in a name field, no period after an initial, descriptive words in the name field. Again, let Legacy help you check for problems. And fifth, those infamous gaps, the too soon or too late or not enough space or too much space children. We have all four types of children in our family tree, and quite often, so those gap rules don't really apply. But be sure to check if any of these might help you find potential problems. And once you've made any selections by checking the boxes, you can simply click on Create a Problems List or Preview a Problems List, and Legacy busily gets to work, checking your data entry while you take a break and get another cup of coffee. Your report can show up on your screen as a text file or a PDF file. I tend to use the screen so I can go ahead and take a look and fix any real problems right away. The highlighted one here is an easy one to fix, as I do want a period after any initials. I simply click on the Edit Individual, and up pops the Child's Information dialog box. I can make the correction and then save it. I can also check on an individual's very long life by selecting Edit Individual. And note that I don't even get the choice to edit marriage or edit children because Legacy knows that those items don't apply here. Now, what the heck is the problem with the Geis family? Red alert, lots of exclamation points. Francis Adam Geis is born in 1900 in Iowa, and his lovely wife Catherine Agnes Healy is born in 1874. He's quite a bit younger than she is. But wait, they married in 1895. Is this guy a time traveler? Let's look a bit further. He has a son named Francis William Geis, born the same year he's born. I think I know what I did wrong here. Interestingly, the 1880 census shows Frank as a 7-year-old child born in Ohio. The 1900 census shows Frank as a husband and farmer born in November 1873 in Ohio. The World War I military registration shows that Frank was born on November 14, 1873 in Ohio, and that same information is shared in the 1910, 1920, and 1930 census. So now I think we all know what I did, and I can clean up this little snafu. And we have Frank's birth date and place. Now his marriage date is realistic, and lo and behold, those children have a father who's actually old enough to be their dad. Of course, I found this just so I could show everyone that we all make mistakes with data entry. We should use our potential problems report, and perhaps even those indicators, and we should be glad that Legacy gives us a little nag to help us find that data that doesn't quite make sense. And now the Geis family potential problem is only a memory. Okay, so none of us like to be nagged, but it won't kill us, and it might just make our databases stronger. And Legacy actually nags in a very helpful and non-confrontational style. If we did it right from the start, the prompt or reminder, message or question would not come up. Remember, we can turn any of the Nag screens off. I was never able to do that with my mom or teachers. Why not play around with Legacy's Nag screens, customize them to work for you, and then be sure to run that potential problems report and fix any of those easy and sometimes surprising errors. Thanks for joining us each day during the month of October as we celebrate Family History Month by using the letters of the alphabet to learn more about our Legacy software and features. See you back here tomorrow for the letter O.